Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Why is it that on media, social media specifically, men tend to flaunt their watches, their cars, their assets? And why is it that in general on social media, women tend to flaunt their beauty? Now you might say, what are you talking about, bro? Well, if you want to know what I'm talking about, make sure you continue to watch this video. And hey guys, please make sure that you like, subscribe, but also check out the links in this video to support the dawa, so we can educate more and more people around the world about the importance of understanding the male and female fitrah, understanding Islam, and understanding the solutions to mankind based on Islamic principles. Let's go back to the topic though. Now, this applies to Muslims as well. You find Muslim brothers talking about making money, about cars, about assets and things, and all kinds of business ideas. And then you find sisters who are even niqabis talking about modest fashion. They're spinning around. Even if just their eyes are exposed, they'll try to put a little bit of a eyeliner. And you find in the comments that indeed, while they think that they're not attracting attention, they are. So men and women act like that, whether they're non-Muslim, which definitely overdo it, Muslims who also do it, but sometimes even in the name of modesty, they'll still exert the same type of behavior. Namely, that men are going to flaunt their resources and women are going to try to flaunt their beauty, even if they're covered. And that's why you have this whole concept of righteous brothers, mashallah, who are talking about business. And then you have the concept of the sisters who are, well, making tabarruj even though they're wearing hijab. Now, I'm not here in this video to criticize anyone. If you want to see criticism, you can go to some of my other videos on Instagram and my reaction videos. But what I'm trying to explain to you today is the male and female psychology, mainly when it comes in relationship to the marriage marketplace. Now, why social media is so important, even though so many people talk how it's negative, you find that most people are on it, because it is the easiest medium for someone to showcase what their value really is. Now, there's a bit of a difference here when we're talking about value, because we talk about perceived value and actual value. Now, the perceived value is the value that a person is perceived to have. You might be having a nice watch, but maybe it's not even your watch. Maybe you bought it from someone. You might be driving a nice car, but it is a rented car. It's not really yours. It's perceived, but you're flaunting it on Instagram, social media. The actual value is the value at the point of the actual marriage transaction, when you get married. So what are your assets? Who are you? And here, by the way, I want to give here a warning that assets doesn't mean only money. But because we live in a materialistic world, everyone thinks and focuses only on money. Assets means also your akhlaq, how good you are, how much deen you know, and how much Quran. Also, what kind of characteristics do you have in terms of who you are as a man. There's so many assets, soft, hard, and yes, even money and so on. All these are important, but indeed the most important are sometimes the soft ones. Because you can be a man who has a lot of money, but you're a horrible man. You can be a man who doesn't have a lot of money, but you could be a good man. Okay, you could be a good man. So that's perceived value. Same thing with women. Perceived value is that they tighten certain parts of their habayas in certain angles and certain filters and certain lighting, and they show themselves as beautiful. They put a lot of makeup on. However, the actual value will be at once she takes a shower, once you have consummated the marriage with her and you actually see her without makeup, because many of sisters are not willing to show you a picture without makeup. Why? Because it will expose their actual value. Now, if men and women would actually know their real natural value, then transactions might change. The marriage might change. Most likely, the ones who are usually mostly deceived are the men, because, well, it costs very little for you to put on some makeup and curate certain posts and certain angles to attract attention from men. That gives women an advantage, of course, because men want more of what women have, and women have been endowed with more of that naturally. Meaning they don't have to put so much effort in it. Yes, the makeup is going to just accentuate certain things. The curations, the movements, this and that are going to increase that. But for a man, I mean, yeah, you look kind of silly if you're just borrowing someone's watch or renting a car and expecting people to believe you. Okay, it costs a lot more to own your own car or buy a nice watch or whatever resources you're showing, where you're somewhere in another country or your properties or so on, to actually attract the attention of some sisters. Now, of course, brothers and sisters, this is not what life is all about. In the end, we should be, as the Prophet ﷺ advised, in those two hadith that I mentioned before, for on the women's side to choose the deen and on the men's side to choose the deen. On both sides, that is the most important thing. But again, we're faced with this reality though, and that's why I make these videos, because there's a difference between what Allah tells us that we should do and what we actually do. What the Prophet ﷺ told us to do and what we actually do. So then we have to explain these things. Now, the reality is that marriage is a transaction. It's a part of mu'amalat. It is an aqd. It's a contract. Aqd nikah is an actual marriage contract. There's terms and conditions. There is an exchange that takes place. What is this exchange at the core? If we look at within the mu'amalat of Islam, transactions are very important, to the point that in the season of pilgrimage, which is a very spiritual thing, you're allowed to trade. You're not allowed to sleep with your wife. You're not allowed to hunt. You're not allowed to do many things, but you are allowed to trade and to do business. Why? Because this is part and parcel of life. And yes, indeed, even marriage, putting aside all the Hollywood, Bollywood, Halalywood, whatever you want to call it, marriage is a trade-off. It's a contract. Now, what is traded at the rudimentary level before وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, as Allah says in Surah before that love and mercy is established, which happens after, and that's why Islam safeguards that relationship so that the interaction and the negotiation takes place on an exchange of comparable assets. But they're not the same. Why? Not love and this, because that would be the wrong thing to base it on. You would make the wrong decision. These things can develop and they're very important. And may Allah bless. However, when it comes to the actual transaction, like anything in this life, you don't want to make a decision based on emotions and feelings, because those come and go and they disappear while actual hard things stay. So, what do men trade? Men trade usually their resources. Now again, resources, not only money. It is skill, knowledge, even good looks. Those are resources. And women trade what? Well, access to them. And that's not the only thing. They have other skills and other, of course. But really, if you ask the brothers sincerely, what are you guys really looking forward to? You know what men are going to say. And if you ask women what she is actually going to look for, well, she is looking for intimacy, no doubt. But it's not going to be like the top priority. Actually, she will even be probably shy to say that, yeah, that's the main reason why I'm getting married. In many cases, it will be stability, safety, to build a family, Yes, intimacy is part of it. And yes, money will be one of the most important things because it is proxy for safety and stability, which women really, really want. So, if we were to put it into one sentence, men trade resources and women trade access, i.e. intimacy, family, be given children, okay, which is linked to intimacy. Those are the main things. There's other things. Again, guys, don't oversimplify where, oh, yeah, it's just sex for money. Oh, this sounds bad. No, that's not what it is. There's a lot more. I said resources, and I said access and nurturing, family, children. So resources are of many, many different varieties. I said money is one of them, but we always jump to money again because we're very materialistic. But a man has many, many resources. Amongst that, those are his behavior, his character, his deen, his knowledge of Islam. And woman has a lot of resources. Amongst that is, well, the intimacy, access, her beauty, of course, her attractiveness, but also her akhlaq, her character, her behavior, her family, her ability to nurture children, how much she loves children, her loyalty, her commitment, her exclusivity. There's so many different resources. Bottom line is, men and women trade resources when they enter into a marriage. And those resources are different, but they're comparable, right? You have to exchange something different for an exchange to actually take place. And that's at the core. And that is supplemented, of course, through that exchange and that connection. Love and mercy will come through. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He has put between you love and mercy. But you see, a lot of people say, bro, that's very dry. What do you mean a transaction? Why? Why not love and just romanticism like it's shown in Hollywood and on social media? Because as the famous song back in the days, Jahiliyyah once used to go, love just is not enough. Love just ain't enough. That's just the way it is. How many people, as a counselor, I can tell you, how many people come and they'll complain a lot more about resources and problems in the exchange of resources, where the man complaining about women not giving intimacy and women complaining about men not providing properly, as opposed to that he doesn't love me or she doesn't love me. I can tell you that there's such a huge imbalance. So this is very important to understand at the core, so that we don't lose hope or we feel like we've missed out on something in life, especially at the beginning, if necessarily there's not this crazy love. As long as the exchange is done properly and as long as people understand, then inshallah, with the blessings of Allah, people can make things work very, very well. But because we are always chasing emotions that are, well, kind of pushed via popular media, we find ourselves that we are not happy and satisfied. Again, everything will follow the natural direction, the way Allah created us. Men are the providers, qawwam, i.e. they have to spend, they have to do this, they have to build it. And women are the nurturers, i.e. intimacy, raising children, loyalty, taking care of the household, and so on. As much as people try to deny these things and try to flip the roles, relabel them, rename them, rearrange the society, they cannot rearrange the biological programming that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put into us, which is fitra. وَلَيْسَ ذَكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. The man is not like the woman. You cannot change it. No matter how much you're going to condemn men or women, no matter how much you're going to incentivize women to be like men or men to be like women, it's not going to fully happen. And even when there is some of that happening, you find that it's disastrous for society. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and check the links in this video. If you like this video, support, inshallah, and sponsor the next few ones monthly. Alhamdulillah, we can continue to provide this education to all the people around the world. It's your brother Gabriel Al Romaani. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.